child of your house, only if your own child says, Papa, I want to become a painter, the first question which will come to your mind will be, Kya? Painter?
But looking back, why did I do engineering? Because somebody told me that there is money in it. Unfortunately, that is how most people decide their career even today. Now, you cannot just suddenly wake up one day and choose a stream.
Exactly.
But if you're thinking about it from early on, then you have clarity. So the parents said, then what should we do? What is the approach? So I tell them three basic things.
Jai Hind everyone. I welcome Mr. Jha and DALIMSS Sunbeam Group of Schools and Hostels, Paharia branch. Welcome, sir.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
First of all, I would like to know why this name Career 9.
Thank
What
you.
does 9 represents?
So, Career 9 researched the entire career spectrum in terms of what is the right approach and also when one should start the process of building career awareness and developing some sort of a career path and then eventually decide finally. So the answer that came back from our multiple researchers, including OECD, World Economic Forum, all of that, they indicated that there is a strong correlation between 13 to 14 year of age and the income later down the road. So essentially 13, 14 year or 6th grade is what we realize is the right time to start the process of building awareness or developing consciousness. So if you look at 6 to 12 and then you look at the college, so basically a couple of years in the college and from 6th onwards that adds to 9 years.
Okay.
So we realize that these are the foundational years. If one starts the process proactively, then you have clarity.
Exactly.
Once you have clarity, you're already ahead of the rest of the people. Because unless and until you have clarity, you cannot think of specialization, right?
Right.
So essentially, you first develop some understanding of the field, you understand yourself, and then you begin to form some impression that, okay, I want this field or I don't like this field, gain some clarity, which then converts into conviction. And then you make a final commitment. And then you say, okay, I want to go this field. For example, in the school system, when you're in 9th or 10th grade, you have to start thinking about your stream and subject selection. Now, you cannot just suddenly wake up one day and choose a stream.
Exactly.
But if you're thinking about it from early on, then you have clarity. Then you can choose the subject with confidence. And then you can start doing advanced studies or research or projects and developing yourself. See, nowadays, getting your first job or entry level job has become very difficult.
Exactly.
Why career 9? Because we realize that this job crisis or AI driven anxiety, you cannot have a cosmetic or superficial solution. The solution has to be thought through from ground up, from foundation. That's why career 9 and we start from grade 6. Thank you for asking the question.
So my next question is that being an entrepreneur, you could have thought of some other startups where you could have earned a lot of money. Then why this career counseling sector?
Well, that's a very, very important question. Thank you for asking. So, this problem is very, very close to my heart because when I was doing my engineering, I realized that I was struggling. I was getting good marks, but I didn't really understand the subject. And thank God I realized that I should do MBA and get into sales and marketing. But looking back, why did I do engineering? Because somebody told me that there is money in it. Unfortunately, that is how most people decide their career even today,
Exactly.
right?
It is basically calculated in terms of money.
Money.
Yeah.
And so what I realized is that, and again, when my own children were in the middle school, the same question, what should they do? And I thought, let me look around if there is any solution, right? Any logical, scientific solution. Unfortunately, there was none. So I realized that for such an important part of your life, career, your profession, you spend 30, 40 years,
Exactly.
but there is no real tool. So I thought I should research that field and try to do something, and that's why.
This question I'll take on myself also. Like I am a company secretary.
Uh-huh.
I did my CS, I did my LLB, and then I landed up as the school principal. So the journey is completely different. Working
Absolutely,
working in an MNC and then just coming down, and both the photos are completely, they are just repulsive. There is no
absolutely,
synchronization between them.
exactly.
But yeah, one thing is there, like now so many options are there, like you are sitting in front of me, you are giving that platform to the students where you are counseling them, you are showing them the path where they can go,
Right.
where they can explore,
Absolutely,
right? Where what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, but we were not having so many options.
absolutely.
So whatever was coming, so we just tried to grab it.
Right, right,
So we did it in that way
right.
only.
But the world has changed now.
Exactly.
AI. There are so many options. In fact, India Today research says that an average student is aware of only 7 career options. In reality, in India alone, there are more than 5,000 career options.
Options, correct, very
Right?
correct.
So if you don't even know, how will you plan for that career? You don't even have any idea.
Exactly. But here I would like to add one more thing. Even if I know, like today MF Hussain is a very famous painter,
Right,
right? We
right,
know him, right? But now just tell me one thing. If a child of your house, if your own child says, Papa, I want to become a painter, the first question which will come to your mind will be, क्या painter?
right,
बस painting और
right,
कुछ नहीं मिला,
right.
मतलब that is the mindset of
You're right.
the Indian society basically. But child wants to go for journalism, parents will never agree, right? A child wants to pursue dancing, singing as a career, they won't agree. Especially the male folk, they face this problem, right? If they are a dancer, obviously we know so many good dancers,
Right.
right? But suppose if a child wants, the parents are not going to support. So my next question is related to that. That is why I was quoting these lines. How do you think that Career 9 is going to help the parents change their mindset and
Right.
accept that, yes, okay, my child is thinking to pursue his career not in the mainstream, in the sideline, will be at the top in his career?
Absolutely. So that is a great question, and that is in fact a very big issue in our country, more so in our country than other part of the world.
Yeah,
Uh, so first of all, money of course is important, but it is one aspect of one's overall sense of accomplishment or fulfillment. So what we do is we look at it holistically from 6 different factors, which are essentially a combination of your intellectual strength, your cognitive horsepower, and your personality traits. So essentially, an integration of head and heart. Okay, and from that we try to discover your intrinsic strengths, and then we do a mapping using AI on the most relevant career options. Now, the fact of the matter is that if you are talented in a specific field, whether it is dancing or music or any field, if you are really good, you have talent, you have passion, you are interested, you can be successful. See, earlier, why parents wanted medical or engineering is
the
because
traditional ones.
traditional ones, because they felt it is very safe.
Safe.
Okay, and even today they think if he becomes an engineer, he will at least find some job and he will be fine
Exactly. At least he'll be able
to
to
sustain
survive. Yeah,
survive.
sustain. Yeah.
Now, unfortunately, I am bearer of a bad news here. Why? See, today look at software engineering. For the last 25 years, this was a standard formula. You go to engineering college, you become a software engineer, and you get a good job, and you are done.
Yeah, done. Life secured.
Life secure. Today, until and unless you are really born to be a software engineer, you are really excellent in that field, you will not even get a job. Because if you're an average programmer, AI has already automated basic programming. So
Exactly.
if you're an average programmer, you won't even get a job.
Very correct.
So the parents said, then what should we do? What is the approach? AI, what should I plan for my child? So I tell them 3 basic things. I tell them First of all, you have to realize that an entry level job today, the very first job after college, they require 2 to 3 years of experience. So, how will your child have that real world experience of 2 to 3 years? It is possible only when your child has a proactive clarity
Clarity.
early on, 6th, 7th, 8th. So, what happens with that clarity? He or she can think of specializing, which means doing additional research or some kind of professional engagement, even if it is unpaid, internship, or trying to connect with the experts in that domain, in that field, networking, going to events, essentially developing oneself in a very specialized field, that domain, what we call, so that the child starts becoming familiar, starts learning some of the technical knowledge in that field. And now, when it comes to stream selection, subject selection, the child has clarity, the child can take the right subjects and then start further adding to the specialization. Long story short, even before college, child has some expertise, clarity, and can go in that specialized field in the college, which then further takes their specialization to the next level, which is how you can get your first internship. That getting first breakthrough, first internship is very crucial, because that is where you start gaining real world knowledge, hands on skill. And then you add on that to second year in the college and third year, and that is how you can get your first job.
And then in that way only we are able to mold our parents.
Exactly,
Exactly.
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 So the first thing is that you have to be very good in your domain.
Exactly.
Second thing is you have to have the knowledge of basic AI. But again, basic AI like ChatGPT is the baseline. Just having the basic AI will not really differentiate you from others, because everybody has that. It is
You need to have a good command.
good command, and you also need industry domain specific AI tools. For example, if you are an architect, as an architect, there are specialized AI tools that an architect needs to use. So you should know about those if you want to be an architect. And third thing I tell them is about people skills, what we call human skills or
Human
soft
skills.
skills.
Yeah.
Because any profession you go, you will be dealing with human beings.
Exactly.
And until and unless you have higher order, what I mean by higher order human skills is not just the average stuff, because again, the word average is not going to find acceptance in today's workplace. For example, average work skill, AI has automated, right? Similarly, if you are an average in human skills, you cannot really differentiate yourself. And in the AI driven world, there's a very interesting thing that is happening, is that a lot of technical tasks are getting automated, which means, let's say, for example, you are in a specific role and there are 10 different technical tasks that you have to perform. Now, if out of those 10, 6 or 7 are already automated by AI, that means now there are only 2 or 3 or 4 tasks that you can perform. So that means now your contribution or the value that you will add to the organization has to be more from your unique human personality, your soft
Otherwise,
skill.
AI is going to take over.
Exactly. So, for human beings to differentiate and survive in the AI driven world, they have to enhance their people skills. So, three things: you have to be very good in your domain skills, you have to be good in AI, not just basic AI, but domain centric tools, and third, you have to be very good in people skills.
Don't you think that it is we who created AI, but now it is AI which is dominating us,
Yes, I would
right?
agree with you. I would agree. That's
No?
correct.
There's something like we, the people, we have created, and now our jobs are under threat because somewhere or the other, the employer says that AI is there, just you insert the prompts and the solution will be there,
Right, right,
right?
right.
So I personally feel that somewhere or the other, we say na apne pair mein kulhari marna, so something like that we have done.
I agree, that is one way of looking at it, but I would encourage students to look at it like in a different light, in the sense that AI is a tool which can make you more productive, more efficient, if you know how to harness that power. So, like even in social media today, you can say the same thing. Social media has good things and bad things, right?
Exactly.
Now, it's for the individual or the parent how they use internet or social media to provide the right kind of information or content or knowledge, right? Similarly, AI, there are deep fakes which can be used in a negative way, and of course, there are a lot of positive uses of AI, right? So we have to educate our children to learn this tool and be proficient and be more productive with the tool. You see, you have to coexist with the tool.
Exactly.
There is no two ways about it.
Exactly. And whenever a change is coming, it will be a very wise decision if we accept it,
Absolutely.
right?
See,
So
change has been happening all through the
it
history,
is universal, it is
universal,
dynamic, it has to
dynamic.
be.
Nature, change is there in the nature itself.
Exactly.
Uh, but the challenge this time, especially with AI, the speed with which this change is coming is very, very fast.
Very
It's
fast.
very rapid. So people, especially parents, see, the challenge is that a typical parent is in late 40s, early 50s. Now he or she, when they went to college, whatever they studied, whatever mindset they had, now after they graduated in the last 20, 30 years, the world has changed a lot, and especially in the last 2, 3 years.
Yeah,
So they are
exactly.
finding it very difficult
Yeah.
to come to grips with it and deal with their children's career decisions and career planning.
Here I would like to add one thing. Like, I personally believe that parents are having one more mindset, that they personally feel that whatever decisions they are taking, that is correct, and they have very less faith in the decisions of their child. What would you like to say in that?
So, it's a very complex and very delicate issue.
Because it is somewhere or the other affecting their relationship as well.
Yes, it is. It will impact the
Even
relationship.
a 5-year-old child asking just for a chocolate, you don't give him, just because by thinking that by it's going to affect your teeth, you'll be having cavity. After some time, the child is going to ask from the mother if the father is not give, because the child has to fulfill his desire anyway. And if both of them they don't give it, then obviously the child will be annoyed. It's just a matter of a chocolate which I have just narrated. Now here, when it comes to the point of career, and child wants to do something, and the parent they are adamant ki no, no, you have to be this. So from which perspective do you handle this kind of problems?
That's obviously a very important and a tricky question. So, I'll tell you from our own real world example. In fact, in your school today, as we were doing counseling, we came across parents with exactly the same situation. So, I'll tell you the impact or the difference that we saw in them before and after. Um, so, if a father is very keen that the son does software or medical or whatever, but when they went through our assessment process and they met with our counselor and they understood the scientific reasoning, the logic, why our counselor is advising them about another profession, then they were able to at least appreciate that there is some logic,
Logic behind
there
that.
is some reasoning. It's not just emotion. See, with parents, what happens is it's a very emotional situation.
There's an
So,
emotion contact
emotion,
connect.
right. So, when they come across professionals like us and they go through this scientific process,
Process. Yeah.
then at least they have something in black and white which tries to speak to them about their own child and tries to explain them through graph and data and all the insights that you should also explore these other areas. So then they get a second opinion and they are more open, and we have seen success through this scientific analytical approach, which essentially helps them, the parents, to open up their mind and consider other possibilities. Now, again, this is not a one time decision. That's why we have converted, in fact, we have fundamentally transformed this career selection, career planning process into a continuous career journey, which means the journey starts from 6th, 7th grade but it does not culminate then. It starts, and each year you go through our assessment, and another report is generated, and slowly but surely the child as well as the parent begin to get the clarity. And by the time they are in ninth or 10th grade, when the actual decision has to be made, the advantage of this career journey where you are building on the initial clarity, your clarity is getting compounded, just like we have interest compounding,
Compound interest.
your
Yeah,
clarity gets compounded,
exactly.
and in a positive way. And by the time you are in ninth or 10th, now you are very sure that you should do this because of these reasons. So then the mental block that the parent had hopefully has been overcome. And so think of career 9 as a parallel career track. Like you guys are doing academics, and that's your job and doing fantastic. Um, but academic alone is not enough, as we all
Exactly,
know.
exactly.
Getting good marks is important, but
But again, we say marks are just numbers.
numbers, exactly. So that's where the real world skill becomes very important, and the real world skill will not come from thin air. It will
Exactly.
come from a systematic proactive analysis, self discovery, and a process which results in the right decision where your talents, your skills, and the requirements of the profession are closely aligned. Then you have a natural advantage, and then you can excel, and that's how you get your job. So this whole career, so arts is like a parallel career journey which goes right along with academic, and it complements with the end goal that you are prepared holistically, technically, as well as people skill, and you have the clarity, and that's how you get your first job. Because until and unless you have this proactive clarity and you build skills, so how do you build skills? We have our own learning management system which helps you form these people skill or soft skills in a regular sustainable basis, month after month, year after year. Because while technical skills can be learned rather quickly, the people skills take a lot of time, like self confidence, right, the
Exactly.
communication,
Communication skill.
communication.
And
So
in today's world, communication skill plays a very vital role.
absolutely, absolutely
Uh, the more convincing you are by your words,
right,
uh, the more proactive and at the forefront you will be. So it is very
absolutely,
important that you have
absolutely
need to have a good
right.
communication skill.
You are very correct. In fact, Warren Buffett said that if you improve your communication skills, he said you can double your net worth
Exactly.
with just your communication skills.
Exactly, exactly, exactly.
It's
I truly agree with this that our communication skills plays a very, very
very
important role.
important role.
So, I would like to know that in career 9, what are the, like, obviously, you people must be having a lot of parameters, but what are the three basic parameters on which you people emphasize in order to connect the child and the parent towards one direction?
Yeah. So the first dimension is their cognitive,
Okay,
strength, the intelligence. It is based on a theory called theory of multiple intelligence,
okay,
which was established by a Harvard professor
okay,
in US, which talks about um, 8 or 9 different types of intelligences. So our job through this assessment is to figure out which is the most dominant type of intelligence, or which are the top 2 or 3 dominant intelligences. That is one aspect. The second aspect is the personality trait, okay, which we all understand personality in nature. And third is a very important term called ability, the basic aptitude, the basic ability to perform certain tasks. So these are the top 3 parameters, though we have a 6 dimensional our approach is 6 dimensional, and we are the first company in the world which has integrated cognitive strength with personality strength. And that's why our methodology has also been published in an international magazine.
oh,
It is
great.
called, yeah, thank you, International Journal of Indian Psychology. Our methodology has been published, and they have specifically highlighted this approach of integrating head and heart. Again, I'll say it very clearly. We are the first company, and I think we are the only company in the world to have created a holistic assessment which evaluates a child on 6 different parameters. And that's why our accuracy is more than 90%.
Very good.
In the world of psychometry, I'm sure you'd have never heard about anybody talking about 90%. We are the only company which openly talks about 90% accuracy in our assessment. And that is why we are so confident in terms of our ability to guide the child in the right direction. And the fact that we have transformed the whole career process into a continuous career journey from 6th to 12th, that pretty much minimizes the risk of making a wrong decision almost close to zero, because you are doing this gradually. The whole career conundrum is unfolding over a period of years. It's not like you do one test for half an hour and then you decide your career.
No.
That's not very smart decision, right? Such an important thing.
It is a series which has to
Exactly.
be there on a regular basis, and then you are able to find it out, right? It
Right.
cannot be a one time show. It cannot
Absolutely.
be.
Absolutely.
Your career counseling, if I just break it, right? Career for the students. What about counseling for the teachers and the parents?
Well, that's a very interesting question. So we also offer a very intensive training program for the teachers, which is actually free for any school
Okay.
which adopts our program. We offer free training in terms of helping teachers cope with the stress of dealing with Gen Z, and we all know what are the different problems. In fact, we're also developing a very specialized psychological or emotional assessment tool. It is called BET,
Okay.
behavior, emotion, thinking, which goes deeper into a person's psychology, and that can also help the students in terms of dealing with their emotional problem, and it will also help teacher understand how different kids behave and why they behave the way they behave. What are the underlying triggers? What are those subconscious factors which which impel or propel a child to behave in a certain way, and so that they can deal with them more effectively. So our teacher training will also benefit from this BET, this solution, when we complete it very soon. So we are very concerned because mental health is an issue all over.
Exactly, it's an issue all over, and it is very important that we take care of the mental health of our teachers,
Absolutely, absolutely.
because it is at the end of the day what happens. What I personally felt is that a parent, mother and father having two children, they're not able to handle their child, right? And then they expect that a teacher whose class is having a strength of 40, they expect that one teacher should be in that position of understanding each and every child. So the kind of pressure which psychological pressure which a teacher is undergoing is 100 times more than the pressure which a parent is undergoing.
Right,
So
right.
I personally feel that we should work on in this area also, that where we look after the mental health of our teachers and we
Very
guide them as well.
absolutely. So as I said, we offer teachers training. See, our chief psychologist, Dr. Meera, she is an expert in this area, and that is why we offer this as a part of our service to the school. We conduct specialized programs for mental preparation for the teachers, and the way we will take it to the next level is through this BET solution. We will provide teachers a better understanding of each child. Like you said, in a class there may be 40 students, and teacher might understand 5 or 10 of them,
Exactly, exactly.
and the teacher might understand them emotionally and also in terms of their academic potential, and can handle them and can teach them. But maybe there are 20, 30 kids who are not able to follow what teacher is trying to teach, because again children learn differently. Some are
Exactly.
more visual, right?
Yeah,
So in
yeah.
fact this theory of multiple intelligence also helps in explaining the most ideal way to communicate or to teach a child. So that once the teacher understands the emotional aspect deeply for the students in the class, then teacher can be more effective both in terms of imparting quality education
Exactly.
and also handling the children uh,
Effectively.
effectively on the emotional mental front.
Exactly. So I personally feel that like Career 9 is dealing with both the students, parents, and along with that, just as you have mentioned that you all are providing some assessments for the teachers as well. I think your like company is doing a great job, right?
Thank you, thank
And
you.
as I told you before, also being an entrepreneur, you would have thought of something else, but going into the service industry and helping the people come out
Right.
from their clutches, so that is very important.
Thank you.
So I would
Thank
like
you.
to wish you all the best
Thank you very much.
from the entire DALIMSS family, and I hope that we will be having such sessions once again,
Absolutely.
right?
Absolutely.
And later on, I would like that you interact with the students of classes 6 to 8 as well.
Oh, of course. Of
Yeah.
course. Absolutely.
Yeah, because they are also of like now this world is so competitive that
Absolutely.
they have already started thinking कि मुझे तो डॉक्टर ही
Absolutely.
बनना है.
Absolutely. In fact, I was quite happy and also impressed to see that Government of India is going to start AI training for kids from grade third, from
Very
third grade
yeah,
next
yeah,
year.
yeah, 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 yeah.
So you see where the world is going.
Exactly.
We are starting our career counseling from grade sixth,
Yeah,
which we believe is absolutely important.
important. Very
And
much.
you can see that NEP also talks about
Yeah,
counseling from
yeah,
grade
yeah,
sixth,
yeah, yeah.
right? And now NEP is also talking about all the skills from an early
Yes,
age, and now you
early
have
ages.
AI from grade third
Yeah, very, very
next
correct.
year.
Correct.
So absolutely, yes.
Sure,
Thank you
and
for the opportunity. Thank you for having us, and we are super delighted to be able
thank you
to.
so much. And we'll have a meet next time once again
Thank
with
you.
more questions.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.